Go.
The fuck is this shit? Look at that. Look at that.
Of the incoming projectiles were intercepted.
What the fuck is this shit? Look at that. Look at that.
Of the incoming projectiles were intercepted.
What the fuck is this shit? Look at that. Look at that.
Of the incoming projectiles were intercepted.
What the fuck is this shit? Look at that. Look at that.
Did you guys see that? What is that? That is craziness. Whew. Anyways, what's up, my friends? How we doing tonight? I got a fun one tonight. We got some stuff to talk about. I was inspired by some things I listened to today in a video I watched. So, good stuff, especially on a relatively slow news day, but I still got plenty to share with you. Craziness abounds. Are we in the last days? Is this the end of it all? And how's everything going? Because it's wild out there. Anyways, we got so much to talk about tonight. What is going on, my friends? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Blue 5, numero uno, Zechariah 2nd. Welcome, guys. Johnny Cash. I can listen to some Johnny Cash when the man comes around. Zechariah. Yeah, that James O'Keefe movie looks awesome. A little scary, but awesome. Cindy Lou Who, what's up? Girth Mike, Zechariah. 10 of every 8 people watch a live stream do it on the toilet. Ew. I don't need to know that. Darren Collins, Big B, Just Mike, Armand, BN Pro, Blast from the Past. It's not first, but you ain't last. That's right. That's right. Pat Shagoya, T. Alex, Lockup, CJ Yukon, Randy Albert, Scott Falkovich, Donna Hero, Frankie S. Steve Bernard, Kill V. Do I still talk about stocks? I do when there's news, but there hasn't been enough as much lately. So, Shogun, Barbara, Nappy Noel, Port Strikes over. Yep, that was one of the first things we're going to talk about. Rum Dog Mark R, Mike Mishler, Joskosh Pozia, Old Man. I'm usually in a good mood. Sometimes I'm tired. Every once in a while I'm angry, but normally I'm in a good mood. You know, life's good. Despite all the craziness, life is good. We're blessed. Amen. Amen. Listen. I don't know if you guys missed it. For the new peeps who just tuned in, I got to show you this craziness.
The fuck is this shit? Look at that.
What is that? I don't know about you guys, but that looks crazy. That's some craziness right now. But is it my day of birth? No, tomorrow's my birthday, but thank you. Please like, share, subscribe as we get started here. Let's get those likes up. Let's get that 100 early tonight, and we're going to talk. So, as somebody already said, the dock strike is over, so we averted one disaster, but there's plenty more to go. No October surprises today, which is kind of nice, but I'm going to still go through all the stuff going on in North Carolina, all the terrible things happening, But first, I want to talk about a subject that's actually very near and dear to my heart, and I think it's an appropriate time to talk about it. I've talked about some things before on this area, and but again, I saw some stuff today that really, really struck me and made me think, and also inspired me in a good way. But there's a lot of stuff out there right now. There is so many ideas out there, because you could argue this is the craziest time people have seen since World War II. And you could argue in America, it's the craziest times we've seen since the Civil War. And every time things get bad like this, people start wondering, is this the end? Because it's scary and terrible things are happening and people are dying. Our people are dying. Thankfully, they're not dying from us shooting each other, but they're dying because of disasters and because our government's not taking good care of them and not doing what's needed. And it's horrific and it's scary. And what's going on in the rest of the world is scary. And there's wars and rumors of wars. And it feels biblical. It's all over the news right now. When you read about the floods and Hurricane Helene, it's a biblical disaster is what they're saying. And that gets people thinking, it gets people really scared. And in America, I don't care if you're Christian or not, you are probably close to at least the idea of the Christian scary end times scenario. And there's fear about it. And so it's worth asking, like, is this what it looks like? Because if you go through the interpretation of what so many people would say, this is exactly what you would expect leading up to the scary end times that so many have been taught. The wars, the political intrigue, so many people feeling lost and voting for literally their own destruction, whether it's their destruction of their pocketbooks or their children's futures or whatever. And it just getting worse, and people saying, what the hell is going on? It sounds like it, right? It all seems to make sense, and it's scary. I mean, but I'll tell you right now that, well, first of all, thank you to all the happy birthdays. You guys are early, but yes, thank you for the happy birthdays. I appreciate it. Tomorrow, 41, the big 4-1. I'm finally into the 40s, so thank you guys. Appreciate that. And what's this? Gretchen is doing Finger October 11th. I don't know what that is, but that sounds cool. Okay. Anyways, let me continue. Sorry. Distracted. That's the live show. Okay. That's how it happens in a live show. But, you know, what we're really at, and I haven't talked about this in a while, but first of all, I have made mentions, and those of you in my Patreon who do my Bible study know that the Revelation has been misunderstood for a very long time, about 150 years. And so most of that stuff in Revelation just is in the past. It's not going to happen. But Jesus is coming back. But what we're going through and why things are so wild, guys, is we're watching the end of a corrupt system that's been around for centuries, literally centuries. And this corrupt system is a system of power that it was instituted by Satan himself and handed off to man to run. And you can read back in the Old Testament to the people in societies who were sacrificing children for power, worshiping Molech and Baal, and the horrible, horrific things they do. The other stuff, along with the sacrificing and you always see rampant sexual stuff going on when there's these people in power, when they're doing this stuff. And it's, all the way back to the golden calf in Moses' time. There was an orgy that happened when Moses came down and saw the golden calf. It's how they celebrate the demonic, how they celebrate idols. That's always been part of this system. And we're seeing it now. We've talked about this the last few days as I've gone over like how dark and evil these people are. The Diddy stuff's exposing it. Epstein obviously exposed it. This has all been happening for centuries. And these people have maintained power, but it goes even further. And I shared a video today, which I hope many of you watch, because he breaks it down much more depth than I'm going to tonight. But there is a system that Jesus challenged. And he called out the system of Herod, which was the politicians, and the system of the Sadducees and Pharisees, which was the religious system. But there was a difference as well. One was the system of total control and power, and the other was the system of hypocrisy. And we see that today. It's still there after 2,000 years since Jesus left. You have the political realm, especially the Democratic side, which is all about total control and power. And then you have, and that's the entertainment industry and all that as well. And then you have the hypocrites, which is most Republicans and I would even say big church leaders, the church music industry, a lot of it, all that stuff. It's awful, awful stuff. And Jesus called out back then. But there's a third kingdom he also talks about, and that's the kingdom of the people. And us, what I think is most of the people in America, 70-80% of people in America, who just want to be left alone to run their own lives. Yes, they still might vote Democrat, but they're not bad people. They might be deceived. But ultimately, if you ask them what they want for their lives, they just want to be left alone to raise a family, make money, and do what they want with their life. And those people deep down do care about America. They just don't really believe or understand what's going on. That's how they're still voting Democrat. But that system has been being fought, those other two, since the time of Jesus. And we're at the time now where I truly believe that system is about to fall. And that's why we're seeing the craziness, because that system's been in place our entire lives. We've known nothing but it. And they've held and stayed in darkness for all this time. And yes, we had little reprieves. I think when America was founded, we had a break from it all. And it took time for them to get their power in America. But they got it, and they did it behind the shadows. And they've been oppressing us ever since. I think it really started. Really started. There was a little bit of it before this, but it really started in 1913, which was the implementation of the income tax, the Federal Reserve, and then a few years later we got into World War I, and we started intervening in other wars. So the war machine ramped up, and you see that ever since then, corporatism came about, which was the idea we took away freedom and we started promoting security. But security is always a lie. And it's always a system created to entrap and enslave you. And at that point, we became this feudal society where we thought we were still free, but what we actually were slaves to the corporations and our politicians. And we've been there ever since, and it's only gotten worse and worse and worse. We had slight breaks. John F. Kennedy tried to break it. They killed him. Reagan tried to break it up a little bit. They almost killed him. And he slowed down a little bit on it the rest of the way. And then Trump came, and Trump, they haven't been able to kill. They haven't been able to lock up. And he's the one trying to break this system. And legitimately, guys, if he breaks it here in America, because of the internet now and the way this will spread, the MAGA movement, the Patriot, the Freedom Movement, I believe deep in my heart, 100%, it'll spread across the rest of the world over time. It'll take longer, but it'll spread over time. This is the last grasp of power for a system that's been in place for 5,000 years at least. And it's a demonic system run by them. And so there's all this talk. This is the end of the times, No, it's not. In fact, I'm not going to go super deep into this, but the end times are just not what people have told you they are. I believe that the end time doctrine that has been taught, the scary doctrine of the end times, where there's going to be a tribulation and a rapture and an antichrist, all of that, it's completely unbiblical. I can prove it to you. I've done it in my classes. I don't have time tonight because it takes a long time to build it up, to explain the whole Bible, how we got there. But it's just unbiblical in my opinion. And in my opinion, it's been used by Satan to keep the church from pressing forward and growing the way we're supposed to, from influencing culture the way we're supposed to. And we've been hunkering down, waiting for things to get worse. And that's impacted the entire nation and the entire world, this doctrine, which I believe is a doctrine of demons, this scary end times theology. I believe what we're facing right now is a choice. It's not the end of the world, but they're at the end of their system. And we're either going to smash it right now with a Trump victory. We're going to smash it and break it once and for all. And the election is the beginning of that. And then getting him into office is the second part of that. It's going to be a war, guys. A war of hearts and minds and legalese and insanity. But we're going to get there. It's either broken. And from there, we start entering into a better future than any of us have ever experienced, where I do believe Trump is going to start the beginning of getting rid of the Federal Reserve and income tax and get us back to tariffs, which are the true tax of Congress from the Constitution. I believe that's going to happen. Wealth is going to open up. I believe we'll get back on a gold standard or something like it, which will kill inflation once and for all. It will make us wealthier and more prosperous. I believe we'll have more freedom in our property rights and all that coming out. I also believe there's hidden technologies that have not been released to us that will finally be released to us over time. And just look at all the people who've come together on this. Trump, J.D. Vance, Vivek, Elon Musk, RFK Jr., Nicole Shanahan, Tulsi Gabbard, and hundreds of others with lesser names, Brett Weinstein, geniuses who all want one thing: for society to advance and society to fully push forward the way they believe we can and should. And that's a society of freedom, a society of health, a society of prosperity. And that is what's coming. And I believe it'll be better than anything we've ever lived through before once we get there. I really do. It's going to take time to build it up. But I believe my children, your children, maybe your grandchildren, if you're older, maybe you, if you're younger, in your young 20s or something, I believe you guys are going to see a better future than any of us have ever seen before. I really, truly believe that. The flip side, though, is if we lose. If we don't show up, and that, by the way, is the only way we lose, if we don't show up. If we don't show up and do this, if we don't take it, because it's at hand, and I'm going to show you more proof of that tonight. It is at hand. Victory is at hand if we take it. But if we don't show up, if we don't take it and we lose, they are going to go scorched earth on us. We are going to see a future worse than any of us have ever experienced. It won't last forever because this is a temporary system. It is. And things will eventually get better. Another generation will rise up in time, but it won't be us. And I don't know how long it'll take, but we will experience censorship. We'll experience government overreach. We'll experience loss of prosperity and maybe loss of life if they get us into World War III in ways we've never seen before, not in our generation. And that's the diversion we're at. This is not about simple policy. This is good versus evil. This is the end, and this is why they're fighting so hard, guys. Listen, if this was regular times, and this is what so many people who I just cannot get through to when I'm trying in the middle, who are just like, it doesn't matter who's elected. It drives me, excuse my language, batshit crazy and pisses me off. And there's a lot of Christians in this too. And if you're a Christian and I love you, you're a brother and a sister to me. If you don't see this, you're a moron at this point. That we are facing good versus evil. It's Trump versus Kamala. It represents something much, much bigger than just a regular policy move. This is the end of a system or the continuance of one with them having more power for a time. And we don't want to see that. This isn't just your vote doesn't matter. It's just not. This matters more than any vote you'll ever have the rest of your life and have ever had before. This is not a time to sit out just because you don't like Trump. Fine. It doesn't matter if you like him. There's no way you can't like what he's offering. There's just no way. And I know people are like, I'm a pure constitutionalist. Fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Who do you think is going to get you closer to the goal you want? There's no time to dick around this time. You know, we can't win this unless we all fight together. We can't win this by just one of us doing it. We have to all show up. And it's time to get loud and outspoken. We have 5 weeks, guys. We have 5 weeks to determine the future of our children and grandchildren and our futures if we're younger. This is it. This is the time. This is a crux of history year. Everything changes after this year, one way or the other. And that's what we're at the end of. We're at the end of a long epic season, which I think has lasted 2,000 years. And it's time to either take the next step or to let them have another go round and we miss out on our future so that someone else has to step up down the road. I don't want that. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want that for my grandchildren. So I'm going to be here as much as I can going through this to win. So that's where we're at, guys. And if you want more on the theological take, I'm not going to theologically debate tonight. Just no time for it. We got news to cover. But if you want more of that, my Patreon, get a free trial. Go watch my classes. The last 3 Bible classes were all in the end times. Go watch them. I go through in so much detail. I don't know how anybody could refute it because I haven't. I used to be on the other side. It was evidence, biblical and historical evidence that got me to where I am now. I've done the work. Okay. And so, but I'm telling you, I don't have fear for the end of the world the way people talk about it. I don't have fear for that. What I have fear for is that my kids won't get the freedom that we enjoyed as kids. And the truth is they're going to either have it worse or better. There's no in between. There's no same as this time. That's how it's going. So, all right. That's the opening. That's my opening monologue. Let me catch up with you guys now. Barbara with the 5 nightly memberships. Thank you, Barbara. That means a lot to me. Thank you for the birthday present. Armand is in. Hayes Hazelgrove is back. Conciliary. Connie Liv is back in. Barry Jones. Thank you so much, Barbara. That's very, very generous of you. And Donna with the $20 donation. Donna, thank you so much. That's so generous of you. Donna, you've been a great supporter since the beginning. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And then we have Agent Orange with the $20 birthday present as well. He says, happy early birthday. Have a good weekend. I will. Thank you so much, Agent Orange. Greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. That is awesome. A couple other comments here. Honey Badger says, Edward Griffin's Creature of Jekyll Island discusses all this. It's good. Good stuff. Kryptonian, a lot of people in other countries have been fighting the fight. Think it'll domino quickly if the red team wins. I completely agree with you. Eric Claiborne, I completely disagree with you. The generation Jesus was talking about there was 40-year generation until the destruction of Jerusalem had nothing to do with us. It's a big stretch to say Jesus told Jews in 30 AD that in a generation this will all happen, and then that he meant 2,000 years. That's a pretty big stretch there. Sorry, I don't buy it. Hi, Desert Dude. Too many people raising their voice about greed of dollars during a natural disaster. I don't know if it's too many. I mean, it sure looks like it. Vince says, free electricity. You know, I've heard the Tesla coils could open that up if it's true. It's a speculation. I don't know if we'll get Tesla coils, but if we do, if they're real, as has been spoken, then yes, we could get free energy and electricity. Absolutely. Cindy Lou. Yeah, interesting stuff. I don't know about Lost Book of Esther. Every 500 years. I don't know about that either. That's not biblical. But interesting. Jack Hamilton, strange the left side of the media has not mentioned FEMA. Yeah, they don't want to talk about FEMA right now. Blue 5, I go through strange stuff on members only shows. I do. The members only guys, if you want to be members and really get to the funky stuff that I can't really talk about on public lives, it's $3 a month. Go ahead and join, support the channel, and get your extra members lives. We have some fun there. Rom Dog, only Fox mentioned how Timmy was friends with school shooters. That doesn't surprise me. Brett, please hit the like button, subscribe. Thanks, Vance. Thank you, Brett. Eric, that's a big stretch, man. I just don't know how you can support that. And I know that's what a lot of people believe. I used to believe it, but when you actually do the research, that's just a made up idea. There's literally no evidence to support it. But anyways, I'm not going to argue about that. Okay, let's keep moving here, guys, because there's a lot to go through. So starting today, the dock union. The union representing 45,000 U.S. dock workers agreed to suspend the strike until January 5th to provide time to negotiate a new contract. So this is what they did. They were given their 62% raise, not the 77% they were asking for, but they settled for that. And then what they said is, hey, everything else we will negotiate, whether it's the automations, whatever, we'll give you till January 15th. You guys were going to agree to pay us. Awesome. The rest of it, we will negotiate. And so they're back to work tomorrow. It was a 3-day strike, and not too bad. Probably set us back a couple weeks. But hey, if you bought a year's worth of toilet paper, you might want to save your receipts. But anyways, I told you guys there was a chance this would be a big nothing burger, and I'm actually glad I was right. I am, even though this could have been good for the election, whatever. What's it going to sway? Maybe 0.5% of voters. I don't know if it would have ultimately mattered, and that's a stretch to even say that much. The truth is, less people are going to suffer because this happened. So we need to be thankful this happened. And we're not going to be all struggling through October to find toilet paper, rice, coffee, all that stuff. So good. And here's the other interesting aspect. This didn't end up being a photo op for anybody. Kamala Harris isn't standing there with them saying, we did it. We negotiated. Biden's not standing there doing that. This just happened. And so None of this is happening. None of this is helping the Democrats. None of this is hurting the economy anymore. And so this is ultimately a good thing. We didn't need to be going through the stress leading up to the election while also struggling to buy food and see gas prices go nuts or whatever could have happened. So we didn't want that. We don't want that. So this is very good news. I'm glad it ended really quickly. It definitely takes the stress level down for the next couple of weeks. Thomas Dubois is having a better day. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers. Thomas, brother, we're so glad to hear that, man. You're fighting that good fight against your cancer, and our thoughts and prayers are always with you, buddy. And we'll pray for you again tonight at the end, and we won't stop. We're not going to stop. Honey Badger, did I hear about the fire chief of town Lake Lure, Dust and Waste Center, arresting rescuers trying to bring food and water, airlift those stranded, actively preventing people from helping? I've heard that. That is absolutely just pathetic. It's pathetic and sick, and makes me ill. These people are dying just up the hill from me, just 90 minutes up the hill. In fact, this weekend, my wife and I were trying to plan a trip to Asheville. We actually were looking at an Airbnb. Was it Airbnb? It was a rental. We were looking at that. What was it? Like a week and a half ago, like 3 days before the hurricane hit. And I told my wife, I said, hold on, I'm waiting for some money to come in. And then we'll wait and see. This was the weekend, we were supposed to be in the mountains. We were super excited about it. My kids were super excited. I was going to teach my youngest son how to fish finally. He was already packed 11 days ago. He was so stinking excited. And obviously it fell through, and I feel so bad for him. But, it's just how it works out sometimes. And so you just don't expect this. But anyways, my point is it's close to me, and I'm just hearing all these reports. My sister-in-law is actually up there right now. She's part of a firefighting team. She's saying it's horrific. She's saying it's just absolutely horrific. And so we just need to pray, guys. We just got to pray that this ends. It's so terrible. So, anyways, do I like how Kamas spent all the FEMA money importing? Oh, we're going to get there. Don't worry. Dock strikers were asked about voting for Kamal and no one said anything. That's awesome. That's beautiful. Hope I have a great birthday. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. ILA president probably got $1 million in an envelope to postpone the strike. Maybe, or maybe several million. We'll see. All right. This is breaking news tonight. By the way, this is my birthday. I got to buy a really expensive beer. It's fantastic. Look at this stout, dark. It's delicious. So anyways, that's just, that was just a bonus. MSNBC producer. I love James O'Keefe, by the way. He gets so much good stuff. MSNBC producer admits MSNBC is doing all they can to help the Harris campaign. Here's the video. We're not going to watch it. These are pretty long, but he always gets these guys talking. It's unbelievable. But it says, during an undercover date with OMG journalist Basil Hamden, writer and producer for the show Eamon was asked what the network's done to assist the Kamala Harris campaign. He revealed on hidden camera what her message of the day is their message of the day. That's collusion if I've ever heard it. That is sickening. That is, that's all you need to know. So there you go, guys. If you want Kamal's message, watch MSNBC, which I know none of you do. You're all too smart. But as they actively push her narrative to help her win, he admitted MSNBC is doing all they can to help Harris get elected, with them operating as an extension of the campaign. He went on to say MSNBC is indistinguishable from the party, the Democratic Party. How crazy is that? To get this. In discussing relationships between MSNBC hosts and Democratic politicians, he reveals the anchor and the politician are in total agreement about everything. If you watch an interview with a Democratic politician, they finish each other's sentences. This is unbelievable. What a get by James O'Keefe. This is amazing. We all knew it. We all knew MSNBC was the shills for the Democratic Party for forever. But Wow, this is wild. Hamden also didn't shy away from criticizing the network's audience, stating they've made their viewers dumber over the years, playing MSNBC as too cozy with Democrat politicians. Holy smokes, that is so wild to admit. I mean, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Peter B, what's up? He says, I'm a longshoreman. ILA President Gaggett threw Biden under the bus when the MD bridge collapsed. Biden didn't compensate when thousands of workers couldn't work. Wow. That's interesting to know. He didn't seem like a fan of Biden to me. I saw him hanging out with Trump last year. So, oh no, it is very interesting. Okay, next story.
You said that you were
This
on
is
vacation.
another crazy one, guys. We found the Biden-Harris admin's missing children. First-hand testimonies from children trafficked in America. This is heartbreaking, but has to get out there. I told you about how evil these people are, and this just proves it again. We tracked down some of the 320,000. Guys, that's 250,000 children. How can you be this evil? This is Kamala Harris. This is Joe Biden. This is the Democratic Party and a lot of the Republicans. This is who they are. They would actually allow this to happen if they had a hint of heaven in their souls at all. They would have fought like hell the second they found out any of this was happening to make it stop. You do not let children suffer. That's a golden rule that everybody who has even a hint of decency follows. And anybody who abuses children, I mean, even in the Bible, Jesus' harshest words are for those who abuse children. He said it's better to have a millstone wrapped around your neck and be thrown into the sea than to, basically, he says, turn any of these kids astray from me, but it can be for anything. I mean, don't you think abuse turns people astray from Jesus? Sexual abuse, all this, it's horrific. It's horrific. And it's the absolute worst thing you could ever do is harm a child. And this is what they do day after day after day. They set it up and they profit off of it. It is the filthiest, most disgusting thing ever in the history of our country. This is worse than slavery of adults. It's the worst thing ever because it is slavery, but it's specifically focused mostly on children. It's so horrific. So as we tracked some down, during the course of our investigation, we discovered federal government sending children to strangers, CIA contractor moving children across America, children being sent to labor trafficking rings. Traffickers use deportation as a threat to exact debt payments from sponsored children. This report reveals a cold, hard truth about the reality of the Biden-Harris administration's open border policies, which result in the trafficking of untold numbers of children. Here's the other thing, guys. They don't, and Queefer says, good thing they found the kids. I don't think they found them in the sense that they rescued them. And I think they've just realized and discovered where they're all going. I think that's what this means by it. I don't believe they've rescued them all. They've just, their investigation has figured out where they're all going. And so, it's the saddest thing going on right now. And this, my friends, is, if I don't care if you're hardcore libertarian, I don't care if you are, so pro-life, you can't stand that Trump's even letting the states choose it and you won't vote. I don't care. Get those stupid thoughts out of your head right now. This is worth voting for Trump, if nothing else. If you can't find a single other reason to vote for Trump and you hate the Democrats, do it this time, because at least he's the only one who can stop this. Because if you do your little protest vote for somebody else, you're not going to help end this. And then you're going to have to answer to God someday why you didn't do anything about it. Why you did a protest vote so you could just feel better about yourself and you didn't change anything in our country. There is one vote right now, and that's Trump. And I can't respect a single other vote. I can respect your thoughts. I can respect your reasons you don't want to vote Trump. I can respect all that. But I cannot respect the fact that you won't step up and do something that could actually make a difference. Because a protest vote makes a difference for nobody. It just makes you be able to brag that you're a Puritan. Well, good for you. But you're not helping any of these kids. And so you can go to your grave with your pride and realize someday you're going to look back and say, I didn't do anything. My protest vote did nothing except make me feel better. And that's not a way to live, guys. It's not a way to live, because that's really all it is. It's a pride thing. You have one chance to make a difference here, and we need every vote. And so I just can't respect anybody who's not going to vote for it. I just can't. You're voting for Trump this cycle, or I can't respect your decision. I just can't. Doesn't mean I don't like you as a person. Doesn't mean I don't respect your reasoning. But again, it's about the kids, guys. More than anything else, this is about the kids. And the other good thing is you're going to get a lot more thrown in with it. Yes, the government might still be too big for your liking. Fine. Yes, Trump might not completely ban abortion. I'm sorry. I want that done too, by the way. But there's nothing that matters more than this. I'm sorry. There's nothing that matters more than this, closing the border. We have no future, and these kids definitely don't have a future if you don't vote for Trump. If Kamala loses or wins somehow because 3% of you decided to just stroke your pride, well, then these kids are on you. They're on you now because you had the chance to make a difference. That's just a fact. I'm sorry. And I'm not mincing words, because I can't mince words this time. In other elections, I could have minced words. Not this one. This is the election. I don't care if you vote again the rest of your life. I don't care if you ever voted before. But you better step up and vote for this one. You better. Because we can't accept the future if Trump doesn't. We can't accept it. I just can't. It's not acceptable. Yeah, abortion is a for-profit industry. You're 100% right. Hillary and Diddy, yeah. Israel and Russia having wars in Syria. I know. We'll talk about that. They know about it, Mike. You're absolutely right. FBI and CIA, they know all about it. Hillary's Pizzagate, they said, was a conspiracy. They tried to hide it, but it's fact. Brett, we need new prisons for these criminals to reopen Alcatraz. Current admin is purely disgusting. Obama needs to be out in the crowd. He's one of them. He is one of them with his pizza parties, his $60,000 for hot dogs. Yeah, you like that one? You know what hot dogs is? I can't even say it here on YouTube. It's horrible. It's horrible. Donna says, MAGA isn't Democrat or Republican. People want to save America. That's right. They want to save America and their future. 100%. Thomas Dubois says, Kamala's going to lose. F her in the horse she rode in and wall swallowed. Thomas, well done. AC Cobra says, amen. Brett Montgomery says, Kamala equals casting couch politician. Oh, I'd show you guys some of the memes people send me about Kamala, but they're not allowed on YouTube. Anyways, okay, let me keep moving on. All right, Maui families got 700. Helene families get 750. Illegal aliens get 13,000 EBT cards with 5,000 cash. Zelensky got billions. I mean, those are numbers right there. Again, you might have principles that Trump doesn't line up perfectly with. Fine. But you know what? This should piss you off enough to say, I can give up some principles to end this. Because again, your vote, if it's a pride vote, does nothing to stop this. These poor people right now are dying. They are drowning. They are starving. They are dying of thirst. They're getting shot up there. My sister-in-law, who's up there right now, said they have so many people up there who have gunshot wounds and stab wounds because the criminals are running amok, and then the desperate people are doing stupid stuff. It's a war zone up there, guys. It's a Mad Max war zone in our country. In one of the richest states in the nation. North Carolina is a very wealthy state. We got ranked the #1 economy last year. And this is happening here. It can't happen again. What are you doing if you're not voting for Trump this time? What are you doing? This is not a regular election. Waste your stupid vote in 2028. But don't waste it here. We got one shot at this. How much worse do you think this will be once they're emboldened after this? This is not, listen, I'm a student of history, And I'm a student of political science. For 30 years, I've been reading history. For 25 years, I've been studying politics. I know everything there is to know about American politics. As well, nobody knows everything. I'm sorry. That's a little much. I have a lot to learn about our history still. There's always something else you don't know. But I know way more than almost anybody. This is one of my favorite subjects for 25 years. And guys, this has never happened before. And it's going to get worse. I'm telling you, we're at a crossroads we've never been at before. This is shameful. Candace Owens discovered Kamala Harris lied about her uncles and aunties in her book. She used pictures of her younger self with some black family friends and claimed they were her relatives. Candace's investigation of Kamal's family's wild. Never seen such a long rabbit hole. Everything about Kamal is a hoax. The only thing faker than her family lineage is the results of the rigged and stolen 2020 election. Ain't that the truth? Listen, evil always covers itself. Evil can never be who they really are. And I'm sorry, Kamala Harris is a witch. And what do I mean by a witch? I don't mean she's off in the mountains with a burbling cauldron. I don't know. Maybe she is. What I do mean, though, is that she's clearly chosen a side, and that side is evil and demonic and just will do anything for power. And witchcraft means manipulation. It means control by manipulation. Everything that is trying to control other people through manipulation is witchcraft. That's biblical. And I'm telling you, she's a witch. She's a born witch, and they all are in this thing. And so the light can't shine on her because nothing's real. It says Satan, the devil, shows up as an angel of light. He hides his true identity. That's how they operate. They never can show you who they are, because who they are is ugly and filthy and wrong. You notice how it's always the Democrats, and don't get me wrong, there's been plenty of bad Republicans. I'm not excusing Republicans, but that's not our enemy right now. The good side is the side on the Republican side right now. It's just how it is. When it's time to clean them out, trust me, I got plenty to talk about. But right now, our enemy is the Democrats. We have to beat them first to take care of the rest. And if you notice how every single time Democrats have super shady pasts or super secret pasts, whether it's Bill Clinton, whether it's Obama, whether it's Hillary, whether it's John Kerry, it's always the shadiest pass. And there's a reason for that. They can't live in the light. They just cannot live in the light. No, Jay, I'm not just preaching to the choir. There are people in here in the middle. Vance 28. I told you guys about Vance. I told you. History is only one side of the story. That's not completely true. History textbooks are one side of the story because they only want to present one side. But you can find real history. You can if you look for it. So I don't completely agree with that, Mark. That's kind of a cop-out. People hear that and they don't want to do the real work. You've got to do the real work. But the real history is out there. Nick Jeff, you know how much Ukraine enter in the U.S.? $1,000 every month. Your mom's retired and receives $700 monthly. Jeez. Thomas Dubois, signed your no trespassing sign due to the price increase in ammunition. Don't expect a warning shot. I love that. Butters, watch Mike Lindell speak the other night. His favorite quote seems to be evil is greedy, meaning they don't know when to stop and eventually destroy themselves. That is 100% true. It's because they're empty inside. When you're empty inside, you always got to keep feeding the beast. You always do. It always is something, whether it's money or pleasure or power. It's nonstop. And that's why these people all do eventually fade away. Ken's been doing great. That's right, Brett. Do you remember the show called The Pretender? That's Kamal, except she isn't good at it. I like that, Jay. Jack, Candace when scam all after Jan Jackson apparently pissed her off. Yep. Donna, if Harris gets elected and your stock hits, you're moving to another country. Any suggestions? Who think Harris went to Diddy Freak Off Me? Yeah, she definitely did. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with you there, Donna. 100%. Mr. Beast. I won't get into Mr. Beast stuff here. There's too much speculation there. I need more proof, but I do agree there's probably something shady there. Okay, let's keep moving. All right. FBI whistleblower came forward and said the FBI intends to put plainclothes agents in polling stations in Maricopa County, Arizona. Plainclothes agents. This is just like 2020 again, guys. The FBI is going to monitor Trump voters. Interesting. Funny how that works. Whistleblower attended a security briefing, raised alarms. This is potential FBI interference in the upcoming election, prompted the letter below to be sent. Now, this is what we need to thank God for here, guys. We need to thank God this is being exposed before the election. That's what we need to do. We could, like, there is a black pill part of this where people are going to be like, oh, they're already rigging it. We don't have a chance. No, we don't have to go down that route. We have a chance. We're winning. This coming out before the election means we're winning, means we're catching it early. This is good news. We want all this exposure to happen up front because then we get to be prepared. And I'm telling you guys, God's exposing all this stuff early. He's allowing this all to come early. He's giving people the courage to speak up early. This whistleblower, courageous. This is a good thing. These are good signs. This keeps happening. This keeps happening. So much is getting exposed. So thank God for this person exposing that. White House report finds Kamala Harris let in at least 1.7 million potential national security threats and 13,000 killers. Now, this goes right in hand with what Trump was saying the other day when he got the numbers of all the murderers and rapists she let in. But 1.7 million potential national security threats. I mean, you don't do that on accident, people. You don't do that on accident. You don't do that by negligence. You do that on purpose. If they had just left the border alone and not done anything, left it the way it was, everything else would have been so much better. It really would have. All right, some good news. Republicans have topped 400,000 mail-in requests of the state of Pennsylvania. That's 100,000 more they banked in the final tally in 2022. That's really good. 2022 is a midterm, so it should expect a little bit more, but not that much more. Democrats are 50,000 below 2022. That's huge. You know, Democrats are less likely to vote in midterms. And so it already would have been low for 2022. And to be in 50,000 under, this is 150,000 swing, guys, for mail-in requests towards the Republican side. That's fantastic news. Fantastic. Love it. Love it. Love it. You're going to rush, Alan? Listen, Putin's offer was pretty good. Mr. T, there's a American Freemasonry history, revered George Washington. There is, but that requires more research. The truth is that some people are Freemasons, but they're just in the club on the base level. There's no history, George Washington. There's no evidence, I should say, George Washington was a deeper level Mason. There's just zero evidence at all. There's only evidence that he was, and guess what? They kind of all were back then. They all were Freemasons. You're not bad if you're a Freemason. You're bad if you go deep into that. You're bad if it's who you really are, if you know what I mean. And there is a difference. There is a difference. Mark Costanzo says 90% of FBI agents true patriots. I believe that. I do. But their top is completely destroyed, completely ruined. All their leadership. I'm kicking it tonight. Thanks, Born Free. Jay Kenny went to San Jose, spent 2 weeks exploring the city, surrounding valley areas, went on a bunch of day trips. Nice. Nice. All right. Kilby says thank you. Is that a Mason sign? In 28 North Carolina counties hit by Helene, 38% of voters are GOP. You wonder why they're letting this happen? First 24% Dem. So Asheville is a Democratic city, pretty liberal. But the rest of the counties, 38% GOP versus 24% Dem. In 72 non-impacted counties, 34% Dem, 28% GOP. In other words, the area hit by Helene in North Carolina is the reason we're a red state. It's the only reason, because of these people up there. And the rest of North Carolina is mostly Democrat. And you wonder why they're letting them all die. I'm just saying it because it's too obvious to ignore. This is how they act. This is what they do. Might the almost 20% variance be the basis for the wholly inadequate response from the Biden-Harris machine? I don't know. You could say I'm just asking questions, but I'm not. I'm making an accusation, and I don't care because I know I'm right. I know I'm right. Let's see what Trump says about it.
Emergency Management Agency. If you
Sorry.
want to see how sick and distorted Kamala Harris's priorities are, just consider FEMA. F-E-M-A. You know what that is, right? The Federal Emergency Management Agency. And you read about now all the time because there's nobody that's handled a hurricane or storm worse than what they're doing right now. Kamala spent all her FEMA money, billions of dollars, on housing for illegal migrants, many of whom should not be in our country, including $1 billion for gift cards for illegal aliens and putting them up in luxury hotels with a gift card to welcome them to America as our veterans are sleeping on the sidewalks below those hotels and they're being walked into luxury hotels. Now we have a horrific disaster in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, and Virginia. That's how big this hurricane was. And the Harris-Biden administration says they don't have any money. They've spent it all they spent all of their money. They have almost no money because they spent it all on illegal migrants.
You know how nice it is to have somebody to support
been sleeping up
who actually calls this stuff out. I you know, whatever Trump's faults, I don't care. I'm not the guy who's out there saying there's a bunch. I don't care. His faults don't bother me in the slightest. I don't care. You know why? Because he's a courageous mother effer who's fighting on my team to destroy the most rampant evil leadership I've ever seen in my life. And I turn 41 tomorrow. So, you know, I'm not old, but I'm not young. I've seen enough. Listen, that's all I care about. Character flaws aside, I don't give a flip. Trump is the only guy going to get anything done about this. He's the only chance we got. And so I have disagreements with Trump. I don't care. I'm still more supportive of him than I've ever been of any other politician in my life. And it's not even close by times of 20, because this man is going to actually do stuff. And when he was president, he did more in 4 years than any other person I've ever voted for did in 8. just being honest. That's how it goes. So Brent Montgomery says, I spoke to your dad today who lives in Boone. Finally got cell service back today. The power will still be out 2 to 3 more weeks. Makes me wonder if the Dems are going to use it to slow voting. Yeah, I agree with you. Thomas says, Vance 2028. Guys, can we just say, thank you. I just want to say thank you because you guys have all come around on Vance now. He's the best, isn't he? Can you imagine? He's going to be a great next president. Al says, what's scary is the stupidity of this culture of self-proclaimed American kids. Quite disturbing. Yeah, there's a lot of that. But I can tell you there's also a lot of hope. I know a lot of those kids in the next generation because my kids are it. There's a lot of good ones too. The biggest homeschool generation in American history, modern American history, is about to come out. And those homeschoolers are not the kids you're seeing on TikTok. Why isn't Trump calling out the waste of billions on Israel and Ukraine? He's called out on Ukraine several times, Mike, him and RFK. As far as Israel, there's a good reason for the Israel one. You cannot criticize Israel and win the election. And that's just how it is. You can't. It's impossible. Because if he starts doing that, that is I'll tell you as a Christian and understanding the Christian voters, who are the biggest block of voters in the nation, by the way. If he starts doing that, he'll lose a significant portion of them. He could lose 10%. He could lose 20%. That's how important Israel is to them. Now, I don't agree with it. I think a lot of it comes from bad theology, this Israel's perfect idea. I don't agree with that. I mostly support Israel, but there are times they definitely do things they shouldn't do, and we way over support them. But you can't say that and win the election. You can't. It would be death to the election. And so if he's going to change that, which I do believe he's going to be more fair around and all that, and I do think there'll be reform there, he can't do it till after he gets in. It's just how it is. Israel has too big of a hold on the Republican Party where any president who says anything bad about Israel at all, especially on the Republican side, doesn't stand a snowball's chance in hell of getting elected. So you cannot. And this is what pisses me off about a lot of people like, who I really like is Dave Smith, libertarian comedian. He's been on Joe Rogan a lot. Very smart guy. But he constantly hammers Trump on this. And I'm like, Dave, you're so smart, but you're so stupid about this one thing. You cannot win an election as a Republican if you criticize Israel, because your base, your biggest block of voters is the Christians, the evangelicals. And the vast majority of those Christians believe Israel is a sacred cow because of their theology. I don't agree with all that theology. I don't. I think a lot of it comes from bad end times theology, and I talk about that. But regardless, it is what it is. You cannot do that. You just can't. And that's why he doesn't do it. Al, happy birthday. I want to donate a cake with a file on it to the Piss Dilly Fundraiser. Thank you, Thomas. Please like, share, subscribe. Appreciate it. Donnie, you're 65. Never seen a president do damage to our country like the last 3.5 years. That is 100% true. Ramdog, worry about the trailers of ballots being filled out in New York, trucked to wherever need them. I know. We're going to have to outbeat the steal. We are. Blue 5, you say it since you're not running for public office, we should let Israel and the rest of the Arabic nation figure out which side God's on. I mean, it might come down to that. Thomas, how can someone stand up for Americans if she can't stand up for herself? The old man has his way with the blue. Oh, my God. Al, those people should be able to recognize what Dems are all about considering the last 4 years. You know, the one area, if you have a blindness in faith, and listen, I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian my whole life. I've been in and out of that world. I know it back and forth. I know the Bible and understand Christianity better than anything else, including politics, including all my other expertises, whether it's business, marketing, politics, whatever, you name it. I'm really good at all that stuff. I know this better than anything. It's my life. I've never known anything else. I know it. I know how these people think. They're good people. They are very good people. They're the reason we're going to win this election. But they also, most of them, have an end times theology that believes that Israel is sacred in a way that I don't think is healthy. I used to be one of them. That's how I understand this. And you cannot do that in this election. They have to be shown over time to wake up from this. And it'll take Trump getting in and more exposure happening for them to do that. And maybe in the 2028 election, not that we should abandon Israel in every aspect. I'm not saying that. I'm not one of those people who thinks Israel is all evil either. I think that's stupid and that's an overreach. But it doesn't change the fact that they do some things that should not be supported. And we support them anyways. But in that theology, they just cannot see it. The blinders are on so much that they and I'll tell you the truth is most of them don't even know a lot of the dark stuff. They've never been exposed to it, or as soon as it got brought up at all, they just ignore it and they move on. They don't want to hear it. And it's because of the theology aspect. And I think it's a bad theology. I think it's unhealthy, but regardless, it's probably what 75 to 80% of Christians in America believe. You just can't win the election if you do it. So, Blue 5 says, didn't Jews kill Jesus? Yeah, but it's much more complicated than that. I would have to spend an entire thing talking about this. It would take an hour or two to fully explain it. J. Kenny, attention, New York at home listings in blue cities, work from home data entry, be able to fill in circles, top pay per ballot. You mean form completed, citizenship not required. Is that for real? That's wild. 17 said we're saving Israel for last. Yeah, that's how it goes. Okay, let's keep moving. This keeps coming up. Again, I don't know how much truth there is to this, but it's definitely worth looking into. Find it interesting. Hurricane Helene happened to hit a chip mining town in North Carolina just after BlackRock signed a $90 million contract for lithium in the very same area hit hardest by the hurricane. Is it that? Is it suppressing votes? Is it all together? I don't know. But there's definitely way more going on than meets the eye in North Carolina. Al Rogland says it's all planned. It started with the teaching the Frankfurt School. That's where politically correct and woke originate from. Stay optimistic. We'll recover. I agree. Oh, that was a joke. Okay, Jay. Thanks for telling me. Yeah, on a member YouTube, that'd be a good thing to talk about, Blue 5. Just don't let me forget, okay? Don't let me forget. I also got to be careful talking about it on YouTube. So that's one thing you get kicked fast for. America First Legal says, new lawsuit, Arizona illegally covering up voter scandal. Arizona is illegally withholding a list of 218,000 registered voters who have not provided proof of citizenship required by law. We sued the Arizona Secretary of State to obtain it. Again, guys, good news. Good news. We are getting ahead of everything. Okay? It's good news. And I just want to show you what's going on. The fact we're catching them ahead of time and we're not seeing all this after the election is a very, very, very good thing. So I just pray we keep seeing it. And we're going to get too big to rig. Jay says, is the article suggesting they can control hurricanes? Tinfoil, how much? I don't, I've seen some interesting stuff on that. That's all I'll say for now. Al, fellow investors were barking, stay patient. We need to do the same with resurrecting a decent government based on the Constitution. I agree. Yeah. Gonna be fun in Oregon when they win? Yeah, Thomas, you'll have fun with that, huh? Do I think these massive storms have anything to do with cloud seeding and types of things? I do think there's, let me put it this way. I don't know 100%, but I think there's a high possibility of it. That's what I'll say. So I'll tell you what it's not. It's not climate change. 100% it's not climate change. And guys, the facts on this, I don't have them ready at hand right now. So, because I wasn't planning on talking about this, but listen, the facts are so obvious. Natural disasters are way down. They're not up. We just have a media cycle that promotes them more, so it seems like they're bigger. This was a horrific thing that happened. It hasn't happened in 140 years to the North Carolina mountains. But it did happen once before, 140 years ago. So it's not unheard of. Okay, these things happen in cycles. They just hit. It's horrific and terrible, and it has nothing to do with global warming at all. Global temperature is actually cooler. The Washington Post did a thing on this just 2 weeks ago, showed we're at one of the coolest points in the last however long they studied, million years or something. It's ridiculous. So natural disaster deaths as a whole across the globe are some of the lowest they've ever been in history. So don't believe the hype when you hear all that stuff. And I know most of you guys don't, but I just figured I'd say it anyways for those in the cheap seats. All right, too big to rig. We're on the right track. Trump has made up a 24-point deficit with Michigan voters aged 18 to 29 since 2020. This is massive, and this is not coming from some weird site. This is from New York Times Siena polling. Hardly right wing. In 2020, 18 to 29, guys, these are the little guy voters. These are the voters who are completely supposed to be indoctrinated by college. In Michigan, big college state. Biden 61 to 37. Harris and Trump 45 to 45. My friends, if the 18 to 29-year-olds are even close to 50-50, this election is a landslide. Mark it down right now. It is a landslide. And what's crazy to me that I've been watching all this time in the polls, every single demographic seems to be trending towards Trump, and yet by big numbers. I showed you guys the other day with the working class and the minorities, all of it. Big numbers trending towards Trump. And somehow he's down in the general. They are messing with these polls so much, but these demographic polls are showing the truth. This is huge. 24-point difference. That is nuts, guys. Absolutely nuts. Jay says, I don't know about the controlling natural disaster. I know the Democratic mantra never let disaster go away. You're exactly right. You're right about that, Candace. It's always been changing. That's right. Blue 5, humanity only a speck on a timeline where the Earth was cool enough, not super hot. True. New York Times still weird. Yeah, it was. What do I think Trump will task Vance with? I don't know. That's a good question. I really don't know. I haven't even thought about that, actually. All right, let's listen to this. This is good by Vance. Vance is out there. He's got some, you can tell he's got some extra pep in his step since the debate. He knows he killed it. Now he's got listen, he spent the last 2.5 months with everybody being like, dude, we love you, but we don't know if you're the right pick, or all the outsiders saying the worst vice president pick ever. Trump has ruined it. And now he's doing victory laps because now everybody's like, damn, son, you awesome. This is the best vice president pick ever. Who debates like that is incredible. He's the next president. And so, you know, he's got a little pep in his step. So anyways, let's listen to him. This is good. This is good right here.
Observation, then we'll hit the road.
Hi, Senator. Will Jones from Local 4.
Hey, Will.
I spoke with some elected officials or election officials last week about their concern about people who are trying to undermine our elections. Why didn't you answer the question last night during the debate about who won the 2020 presidential election?
Well, look, here's the simple reason. The media is obsessed with talking about the election of 4 years ago. I'm focused on the election of 33 days from now because I want to throw Kamala Harris out of office and get back to common sense economic policies. But I also think you can believe that America needs to have secure and free elections, but also talk about the fact that just a couple of weeks ago, Democrats in the U.S. Congress blocked a piece of legislation that would have ensured illegal aliens don't vote in our elections. If you believe in American democracy, if you believe in our constitutional republic, you should be trying to strengthen American election integrity and not weaken it. So we're going to talk about election integrity because I believe that every vote ought to count, but only the legally cast votes, and that's why we fight for election integrity, and that's why we care.
Unbelievable answer. This guy's he's so good. He's so good. It's crazy how good this guy is at what he does. He's unbelievable. I'm so proud. So proud. I saw it ahead of time. Randy Lockfield says Hillsdale College in Michigan, one of the best conservative academic institutions in the country. You're absolutely right. In fact, I was this close to going there for college. And funny story. You guys ready for a funny story? All right. This is a embarrassing story, but you know, it's long past. I can tell it now. So I was I'd taken 2 years off from college, and I was thinking about going back. And I wanted to go to Hillsdale because of conservative education. Just so happens I was also talking to a girl in Michigan at the time that I'd met online. And my... oh, God. I was 19, and I was just about to turn 20, but I'd been talking to this girl online for a while. Met her, I don't even know how, MySpace, chat room, something. And, you know, I'd gotten one picture from her ever. And it was a good picture. I was like, all right, she's cute. And then she always had reasons why she didn't have other pictures. And back then, it wasn't the weirdest thing not to have a lot of pictures online because, you know, you had to have a digital camera. Not everybody had those, or you had to have a scanner. Not everybody had those. So you actually had an excuse for not having a million pictures online. And some of you little people here, you 20-year-olds, you have no idea what that's like. Your whole lives are recorded. But back then there was a thing called privacy. And so I was talking to this girl, and I thought to myself, well, she's in Michigan. I want to go to Hillsdale. Hey, let's go take a trip. So my friend and I had a good friend who always was up for a good road trip. We talked and we said, okay, we can hit Michigan. We can go see this. We can pick up this girl. We'll go hang out for a couple days. We'll go to the theme park. We'll go down to Ohio. Never been there. We went to, was it Cedar Point theme park? We do that. And then we go into Indiana. We just see this Midwest area that we'd never seen before. And we were flying in Illinois to see Chicago and stay with my uncle for a couple days. And then we'd go up and do our road trip and then come back to him, stay a couple more days and fly home. It was like a, 7-10 day trip, something like that we planned. It was great. We were great. And I was like, man, I'm going to meet this hot girl. This is going to be awesome. And so, yeah, please hit those likes. Get us up to 100, Mark, because I'm going deep here in this, my past. So we fly out there, have a great couple days, go to pick her up. We get there. She is, Not what she said. Not what the picture looked like. About twice as big as the picture, maybe 3 times. The face, I don't think you could even match to it. And I was like, oh my God. They lived in this weird house. I was like, okay, this is trouble. But I was a nice kid. A church boy. Didn't want to, she wasn't a guy. Thank God for that. But, crazy mouse. But, anyway, so we get there. I get in the car, like, get your stuff. And, I get in the car with my buddy and he says, he says, bro, should we just leave? I was so nice. I was like, I can't do this to her. I've been talking to her for weeks, like I felt like I knew her. I didn't want to break her heart. And I was like, there's no way this girl's ever getting another date. So I was like, we'll be nice. So we took her. We took her to the theme park, everything, and brought her back. And it was basically 2 days of just like, oh, this sucks. And anyways, dropped her off. I'll never forget it. As soon as we're driving home, dropped her off, driving back. My friend just looks at me and he's like, what the f is your problem? It's like, I can't believe you just did this. Oh my God. But the good side of the story was after that, because I'd been talking to her and I thought I really liked her until I met her. There'd been another girl who was kind of like maybe on the line, and I started talking to her immediately after that, and she was a smoke show and made up for all that mess, and I dated her for a few months, so that worked out. But my God, guys, that was rough. That was rough. Anyways, where are we at? What are we doing? Yeah, I got catfished. It was bad. Yeah, carp. Man, what's a blowfish? It was not pretty. It was not pretty. But anyways, all right. Again, so listen, who's happier than me after that story? It's Trump with JD. Trump with JD. Let's hear this real quick. This is funny.
How good did JD Vance do the other night? Didn't he do great? I drafted the best athlete. Vince Lombardi, you say, go for the best athlete. But I had 12 people that would have been fantastic. But
I drafted the best athlete. How awesome is that? That's amazing. You've been catfished before? It was called catfish? Oh my God. I dated the next girl a few months, crazy mouth. Jay, I should be ashamed. Thought you liked her and didn't base it on looks. Remember the movie Shallow? Listen, Jay, I have no problem admitting I'm shallow. I've told my wife, the reason we were together is because I'm shallow. My wife's a great looking woman. I'm very blessed. I married up, and I tell her all the time, hey, this worked out because I'm shallow. I have no problem being shallow when it comes to looks. I'm sorry. That's just, it's a character flaw, but worked out for me. Worked out for Trump too, apparently. Randy, Victor Davis Hanson, visiting professor at Hillsdale. He's very good. I just listened to him on Megyn Kelly the other night. I would have made out better if I was Manti-Teo'd. Oh, man, that's so funny. If she was fake, I would have. Because then we could have gone to the park. Listen, it was... we went to the park, and it was actually kind of sad because she was so overweight she couldn't keep up with us. So she would sit on benches and be like, you guys go ahead. And so we'd go ride rides and stuff while she would take like an hour off every once in a while. It's terrible. It was bad. It was a crazy story. So I got lots of stories like that. Not like that, but just wild stories I did. Because I did a lot of crazy stuff as a young guy. I would always be out doing stuff. Traveling, meeting people, having crazy experiences. That was who I was when I was younger. So yeah, lots of stories. That was the only time I got catfish like that though. That's the only time. Thank God. Thank God. Okay, let's got a couple other things here, and then we're gonna call it a night. But first, we got this is you got to see Anderson Cooper's face when they tell him that the youth vote is tied in Michigan.
How is Vice President Harris performing with young voters compared to how President Biden did in 2020?
Some numbers, Anderson, to help with that question. Number one, just look at this choice for president. I want to stretch this out a little bit. Excuse me for turning my back. This is a recent New York Times Siena poll. It shows Donald Trump and the vice president tied among voters aged 18 to 29. Joe Biden carried that group by 24 points in 2020 in the exit polls. From being on the ground, remember, when you poll a smaller subgroup in a poll, there's a bigger margin of error. I can't quite believe it's a tie from being on the ground several times in Michigan, but there's no question the vice president is doing better than President Biden was doing earlier this year, when a lot of young voters didn't want him to be the candidate anymore. But she's not doing as well as he did back in 2020. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt about it.
How is Vice President Harris performing
You see how
with young
frozen
voters
Anderson
compared
Cooper
to
is?
how...
He's just like, he
young
does
voters
not want to show emotion. And this guy's like, well, she is at least doing better than Biden. They know, guys, they know these numbers really mean it's death. It's death. Because even if say this is, because the margin of error here is probably 3 to 4%. Okay. Even if it's Trump at 42 and Harris at 48, that with the youth vote's a landslide. That's absolutely a landslide. So did I take the biggest ride of all? No, we didn't do that. But funny story, we had to stay overnight at a hotel. And so my buddy was like, well, I'm not sleeping with you and I'm not sleeping with her. So we had, 2 queen beds. So I was in the bed with her and I was like, I'm going to bed. I hug my side and she just like whimpered and snuggled on me. And oh my gosh, it was, not fun. Anyways, Blue Five says over 40, the shallowness mellows out. I believe it. But, I'm a happy man. My wife is 37 and still looks amazing. She's thin and, Jay Kennedy, you remember phone dating, online dating before the internet was a thing? You had to guess what she looked like based off her voice. Well, that's no good. Oh, thanks, BM Bro. We got 100 for that story. Well, there you go. Jay, bro, you guys are terrible. No, that did not happen. I'm sorry. Couldn't do it. Shallow Ace. You guys, I shouldn't tell you these stories. All right. This is crazy too. CNN poll of polls gives Trump a nearly 70% chance of winning the election. 68.4. 32 days of election day. Harris will also almost given the full backing of the media. T-ball interviews, blatantly biased debate moderators, and it might not matter. And here we are. CNN poll with the silver bulletin just came out today. Popular vote has Harris up by 1. Electoral college win probability 70%. Guys, they are undercounting him in the polls. That I think is 100% obvious. They've always done it. I think it's worse this time. It's gonna be too big to rig. We're gonna pull this off. I feel so good about it, and that's gonna begin. Going back to the beginning of tonight, that's gonna begin the end of this horrific deep state government we have. All this awful stuff going on. We're gonna win. We're gonna pull it off, and it's gonna be great. I just oh my God. I can't believe I told you guys that story. That's, I got Kamala'd. It's like the Democrats right now. They are flirting with all their voters, with all these Americans. They're lying to their faces. But everybody who knows, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go that way. But unfortunately, a lot of people aren't taking the time to do their research. And they're getting sucked in by the pretty picture. And that is how we tie it all together right there. See? That's what a pro does. Those aren't pillows, Mike. It's funny. You say Mikey, Thomas Dubois. My buddy who took me, his name is Mike. We always called him Mikey. Butters, is it true CNN plans to go behind a paywall some of its content? Yeah, it does. Yeah, who's going to buy when it's free? I don't know. They already tried a subscription service and failed miserably. absolutely miserably. Hugging the cheeks. Did she say she looked like Janet Jackson but more like Freddie Jackson? Friday? Yeah, that's great. I love that movie, Friday. I haven't watched that in a long time. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. I'll be honest. If you guys see me this weekend, it'll probably be Sunday because I'm going to be chilling. Tomorrow's my birthday. Saturday, my wife wants to do stuff. So Sunday, I'm going to do a members live this weekend because I didn't get to one last weekend. But until then, I'm going to have some fun chilling with my family. And so going to have 41 tomorrow. I'm excited. Thank you to everybody who gave. I really felt the love. I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. Had a good time tonight. I mean, got serious, but we had some laughs too. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Love doing this. Appreciate you guys. And so let's end in a prayer and go have a great weekend. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless everybody here. Father, we just pray, God, that everything possible that can go right for Trump goes right. Everything bad that can go wrong for the other side goes bad, so that we can win this election majorly. We can save the children, close our border, get everything back on track, get our government back to being a government for the people, of the people, by the people. And God, just get America back. We want that more than anything. All of us are coming together for that, despite our differences. And so we're fighting. And Jesus, I just ask that you would power behind that fight so we defeat them massively and in a way that's emphatic and no one can doubt it. Bless everybody here, Lord, with their health, especially Thomas. Pray his body gets better, Lord, and he beats this cancer handily. And pray for no pain during the process, Lord, as little pain as possible. And just be with everybody here. Help us navigate these times. And we love you, God, and thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Love you guys. Bless you. And thank you for the happy birthday wishes. I will see you all soon. I'll give you a heads up when I come by. So see you guys. Nice, Butters. Nice. I'll see you guys later. Bye.